Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Monday afternoon / evenings, Tuesday morning, Zoom edition, depending on where you are in the world. And it's a good day today. I'm rocking my Bitcoin pumping to the moon background today. Feeling pretty good. Bitcoin crashed over $60,000. It's good to use the word crash in a positive way. And Ethereum's like 3,300, 3,400. We'll look at those charts. Some pretty good news as well. We'll go over everything. Let's go ahead and I'll share my screen. And okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin chart that I need to make a day
Yes,
chart. Thanks.
we are.
All right, well, I'll make an hour
15
chart.
minutes.
Yeah, so this is the big pump we've had. Nice movement over the weekend and continuing on today, Monday for us in the US. And from Thursday to today, over 10% move on Bitcoin. Loving that. The day chart, yeah, 4 straight green candles. I think we're pretty confident today will be a green, closes a green candle as well. So Bitcoin's looking good. Hopefully charging towards that 70K area. We'll might hit some resistance right about here, 63.5. Looks like we've had a couple touches in that area recently. And then some more resistance here around 65.9, 60, 66, give or take, before we work our way up to 70 plus K. So looking good on that chart. On Ethereum, yeah, that one's doing really well since our low on Friday in the wee hours, up 12%. The day chart, same thing, 4 green candles. And actually, 1, 2, 3, 7 out of 8 green candles on day charts with this little doji here on Thursday. But that's looking really good. On my favorite information source, sort of, Twitter, 2 news items. Donald Trump announces pro-Bitcoiner as vice president. He's talking about JD Vance. I'm reluctant to talk about politics, but this is relevant. So if you want to chime in, please keep your comments related to crypto. I don't care who you vote for. That's your own business. But Trump adding a pro-Bitcoin vice president, I think this is very good news for the market. May or may not have something to do with why the market's moved up today. Obviously, everyone's aware of the assassination attempt over the weekend. That may have played a role in it as well.
That
And
it was
then,
interesting. The market pumped almost as soon as that happened, and he obviously survived.
yeah,
It was amazing. It was like the market was looking for some news, and it got the news, and it just took off.
yeah. It's just news, any kind of relevant
Any
news,
any
and
news, yeah, that was just the. That's what I say. It was looking for news. It
mm,
got some news, and it took off, and hasn't really stopped.
yeah, it's just been pumping since Sunday or Saturday actually. And then the other good news is looks like Ethereum ETFs are to launch on July 23rd. Eric Balshanis here has some more details about the forms and the fees and things like that. But they're calling it for the 23rd. I don't know if that's something we can absolutely hang our hats on, but again, that's good news for crypto as well. So
Also, Trump's talking at a cryptocurrency conference in the next few days, isn't he?
I believe so. I don't know if the recent events will change that, but as far as we know, I guess that's still going on. We do have the Republican um, convention, and I think it's after that, but I'm not sure exactly when. I should probably look into
Yeah,
that.
and
But
and there was also something about Biden rejecting something that was crypto positive.
yeah, he rejected some regulation legislation that I thought made sense. having the CFTC, which is the Commodities Overseers, basically handle crypto instead of the SEC. And I think that's the one he rejected. And there may have been some other issues as well in that legislation. And so they're going to try to overturn it through the Congress and the 2/3 majority. Don't know how much you guys know who aren't Americans about how American legislation works, but yeah, 2/3 majority can override the president's veto. So we'll see if that happens. So something like that though sets up, Biden is the anti-crypto presidential candidate. So, if you're voting your own livelihood, the choice is clear. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this man, but most of us are going to vote our livelihoods. Okay, that's
Trump
enough of
is
that.
CJ.
Okay, Frank, you want to chime in? I didn't
Well, I
think
was
you
just
could
gonna
let this
say
go.
Trump is supposed to also go to Bitcoin Nashville. I don't know if he's speaking, but he's supposed to go there, which is a week or two. I don't know exactly what the date is. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah, if someone
I,
could look that up and throw it in the chat, that'd be helpful.
yeah, I thought he was speaking, Frank, for some reason.
yeah, I don't know if he's speaking. I can't imagine him going there and not speaking.
Yeah, that
That
would be
would be
out of
that
character for him.
that would be a moment in history as well. But anyway, I know he's going anyway.
All right. So politics, it's an election year. What can we do? Got to talk about it. All right. So that's the news. Anybody else have anything they want to chime in with? Okay. Oh, here's a little bit more information about Mr. Vance, who was quite the critic of Mr. Trump, as was I a few years ago. So, but there are multiple articles in crypto related internet sites, so I might want to check those out. I'll throw this in the chat. Yeah, I better do that now while I'm thinking about it. If you guys want to check this out. All right, that's in the chat. So, what do we do with this information? Let's trade. We'll go to Altcoin Alert, see if we can find some day trades and swing trades. Alan's chiming in. I thought you weren't talking politics. Let's talk about Trudeau. I think he's Canadian, eh? Yeah, that's it for. We'll talk about American politics. I know a little bit about that. It's the best I can do, if and only if it's related to crypto. All right, let's go to charts. I'd rather talk about charts. Okay, altcoin alert. Here we are. Easy mode is off. Altcoin radar selected. We've got all the information. Quick refresh to get the most current. And I'm gonna do my first sort by the AA score. Looking for values 80 and higher. And I'm also looking for coins I know a little bit about. Just for fun, I looked at Pepe today. Not something I usually trade, but it's up 18%. So I thought it would be worth a look. So this is the Pepe chart, I believe on crypto.com. And it's one of those coins with 4 or 5 zeros in front of it. So it's something like if it's ever worth a penny, it's going to be worth more than Microsoft. I think that's how that works. That's unlikely, but hey, I'm not above trading a meme coin if I can make a quick profit off of it. So anyway, I'm on my 15-minute layout, which I use for day trading. Got my support and resistance with the supply and demand visible range by Lux Algo. You can find that here in the indicators. I've shown this many times, so if you have any questions about it, either email me or check out some of my past videos. All right, so, and then I've got my RTI, relative trend index, that I use for entries. And then on trend-based trades, I'll look for the cumulative delta for confirmation. All right, so my favorite trades are the dips below the 20 on the RTI and then a break back up. We have one of those here. And where'd that go? Oh, there it is. It's my toolbar. Looking for my vertical line. So we've got one of those there. As you can see, it makes a really nice move. You know, almost 4%. Love that as a day trade. And then another break below down here, breaks above right about here, and a near perfect entry. Boom, plus 10 plus percent. But it's only dipped below the 20 a couple times in the past 3 or 4 days. So it doesn't happen as often as I would like. And so that's why I also have an alert set on the 50. If it breaks below above the 50, that's something I'm going to look at. We have that here. A break above the 50 with the cumulative delta just about to trending up a little bit. Not great confirmation. We get it better on this candle. A break above, cumulative delta breaking above. Let's say you get in here and you know there's a move up to 7%. I'm going to be looking at past retracements and supply and resistance to determine where I get out. So to make that realistic for what I'm showing you, I've got to scroll this back because the support and resistance would have been a little different. So we get the break here at the yellow line, and we've got resistance here, showed in the red zone at the time of about 9,100. So that's going to be my exit in this scenario, 9,100, and we went a little too far. Looks like that's about 2%. Yeah, 2.5%. That's a pretty good day trade. And for those of you who are more experienced, you might be on leverage. If you're at 5x, 10x, 20x leverage, you know, that's going to be a really good trade, that 2.5%. You can even pile up those kind of trades just on spot trades. Just pile up 1, 2, 3% trades, do a couple of those a day, and your balance will grow rather quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have that set up at the moment. I did see that vet alert. I'm going to ignore it, and I'll explain why a little later if I remember. It's been kind of putzing around the 50. That's a little frustrating. And let's see, at the moment, we are above the 80 on the RTI. So if you're spot trading, I would suggest waiting until this dips below the 50 or the 20 and comes back up, getting it in then. We're right in the red zone on the 15-minute chart, so this is not a good time to get in. But here's how you can do alerts on the RTI. So right-click on it, crossing up, and this is for primarily spot trading or long trading on leverage. Crossing up, you could set one on the 20. That's the bigger dips I showed you before, or the 50, that halfway mark. I have alerts on both. And once per bar close, we'll leave it on all day until you turn it off. And then again, this would be an AA score purchase. That's what I use for the alert name. Notifications, notify in my app on my phone, toast notification, which will pop up in the corner of my screen, then play a sound also on my screen on my desktop computer here, and just choose whichever sound you want. And that's how you do an alert going one direction. If you want to trade both directions, which is what I usually do, you can enter a channel, 80 on top, 20 on the bottom, and again, once per bar close, and leave that on until I turn it off. So if this dips below the 80, that could be a short entry. If it breaks down below like this, that's going to be a long entry. Okay, any questions on Pepe as a day trade? Okay, if you want to trade something this volatile as a swing, it wouldn't be my first choice. That was a Kraken chart, actually. I think I said it was crypto.com. So we'll go back to Kraken. I'm on the 1 hour chart. And my setup has the same support and resistance function. But I'm using the supertrend, which is alert friendly, for guidance on when to get in. And the Trendio LSMA, which is a moving average, as a confirmation. So the ideal entry is something like this, where the buy signal triggers, the Trendio kicks in, and we're coming out of the green zone. And so that triggers here, but we don't have confirmation yet. We don't get confirmation until down here. I probably would have waited for a green candle and gotten in right about here. And probably looking for a return to this resistance here, or to the red zone, somewhere between 8 and 10% on my swing trades. I like 10% swing trades. And that actually happens right about here. Like 2 or 3 days later. Those are my favorite kind of swing trades. So now you can wait longer and try to catch a bigger move. If you get an entry like this, and instead of the 1 hour, maybe you look at the 4 hour to get some guidance on a retrace potential. And we can see back here in June, it's up to 12,826. So that type of move, now you're getting up to 14, 15%, but you'd be in the trade longer if you took that kind of move. So alerts, let's go back to the 1 hour. Real easy to set alerts on the super trend, right click. You can use this option to trade both directions. Choose sell to short it, buy to long. And I usually just leave this on once. It's an AA score purchase. And I'd probably use a different sound like handbell to let me know it's a swing instead of a day trade. Okay, any questions on Pepe as a swing trade? Okay, let's look at another sort. So that was an AA score. Social activity is another one I like for day trading. And I'm looking for fire or thumb between social activity and trading activity. So those match up. And let's see what we got here. Alice, YFII, STX I like. Maker I trade occasionally. IMX, so well, we don't have a match. Synthetics, SNX, I like that one. So let's look at stacks. STX up 8% today. And that one's on my list. So I think we're going to see a lot of setups like this today, a lot of coins over the 80. So we're going to want to wait till a dip before we get back in. Probably want to get a dip like either below the 20 or crossing the 50. Either one would be good for a day trade. So again, you can do those alerts, right click, crossing up. So you can do the 20 or the 50 or both, and you'll be good to go on STX. Did have a really nice move after the dip below the 20, right about here. And then I caught that move up. I think we're going to see a lot of charts like this. Okay. As a swing trade, 1 hour chart. We're in the red zone now. But the Trendio is turning, just turned red. So if this is something you want to trade and it's just not ready yet, you're waiting for a dip, you can just go ahead and set a buy signal on the super trend. But just beware that's probably not going to hit today. It may not happen till tomorrow or the next day, because it has to go through that dip cycle first. This was a social activity sort. And this would be a handbell. I'm going to go ahead and take this one. I'll check my alerts, and you can see that one shows up over here. If I remember correctly, I've got an older swing trade position with STX that went against me, so I might add to it if I get a nice signal and set up here. Any questions on STX as a swing? Actually, we didn't really go over a potential exit. So I think what would happen is it'll dip down here and then come back up, probably right around here. So that'd be about an 8% trade or profit. Good look at our 4% or 4-hour chart. Yeah, you got retracement potential well over $2 here. So if you got in about here, yeah, that's 20%. So that's a really good day or a swing trade, but you might be in it longer. Okay, any questions on that one? Look at one more on Altcoin Alert, then we'll head over to iCoinPro. So let's look at a long-term sentiment sort. I like this for longer term trades like it sounds. I'm going to match it up with Elder Impulse Daily. And when I see bullish on both, that's something I want to look at. If I'm looking for something to short, I can sort it the opposite way. Look for bearish on both. But for now, we'll go ahead and go bullish. And get a match here with MOG. Something I did look at once in one of my other calls. VET is something I'm tracking today. I've got a trade going. It's kind of going sideways though.
Yeah.
And let's see. Bitcoin, interesting. Doesn't show up very often on this list. ICP, I like that one. It's nice and volatile. Doge, trade that one quite a bit, usually to short. Let's look at ICP. Do a quick look as a day trade. Yeah, it's looking pretty similar to what we've been seeing before. It's above the 80 on the RTI. So I'm going to want to get that dip below the 50 or the 20 with an alert. Probably won't, most likely won't trigger till later tonight or tomorrow. On a swing, yeah, nearly identical to the prior chart. In the red zone, it's got a buy going. Let's look at the 4-hour. Yeah, ICP had a big move up a couple months ago. It's at 950 now. So if you got in, wanted to willing to stay in for a while, you know, there's 20% retracement potential, but it did take, you know, 40 days, well, to run that cycle. From here, the last time it was where it is now, it would be quite a bit less. You know, 10 days, give or take. And I thought I saw something in the chat.
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, when you were saying it was breaking down below the 20, I believe you're looking at the RTI.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. So here it's 20, 50, 80. Okay. When it drops down below the 20, are you waiting for it to come back up and hit the 50 or just come out of the 20? Because
So
a lot of times it'll just wiggle around back and forth on that 20.
Yeah, it will. And those are the alerts that keep going off sometimes. Like we've got it here at the 50 for ICP. You know, it's bouncing around here between, say, 10:45 and 5:15 p.m. So that's just the downside of this approach, is that if it gets stuck, you know, at one of those alert points, it's going to set those alerts off. So at that point, I think it's reasonable to at least wait for a spike up that you can visually see. You know, um,
Well, if it's like kind of consolidating there along the 20 when you're using the RTI, and then out of nowhere it has this drop, and
mhm.
you're it kind of come up towards the 50, so you're in it, and then it drops like a stone and below the 20, and you're just like you just stuck riding it out at that point.
Well, I'd make an
Comes
additional
back up.
purchase.
What's that?
I'd make an additional purchase. So, you know, if it goes against me, and the market makers are out there, they're saying the same thing we are. So, sometimes they assume people are going to take. I haven't talked much about market makers, but yeah, they're out there, and whether they're working for the institutions or the exchanges, they're going to look at the same information and then try to manipulate the price down to catch your stop losses, and um, if you're on leverage, the liquidation points. So that's why I like making additional purchases. Nearly all my strategies employ at least two. I think that's, especially since we seem to be back and on track for the bull run. Wouldn't surprise me if we had a little setback tomorrow, but generally speaking, we're moving up. So I think on long trades, there's some value in having additional purchases set up or in mind, or something like that, so that if something happens like Kim just described, where you do everything right and it starts to come back up out of that dip and then it craters, you catch that additional purchase. Now you've got more money in the trade, so when it does come back up, you make more money and you can get out sooner too, because that assuming you go in at the same amount that your original purchase is, it's going to improve your entry and get you out earlier if you want. I've done videos on how to ladder buy or dollar cost average, so you might want to check those out.
Are you talking putting more money in based on stop loss? Or are you talking putting more money in when just on leverage?
Either way. So if you're trading spot, like most of the new folks are, you shouldn't be putting in like 20, 30, 40% of your balance on the initial trade. Probably shouldn't go more than 5% would be what I suggest. And so, if it goes against you, you have funds available to make that additional purchase. But bear in mind, the downside of this approach is you can get stuck. There's some news event and the price craters, and you're stuck in something for a while. I'm stuck in some of my swing trades, so that's the downside. Or it really goes against you, never comes back on something like Pepe. That's why I try to
really
avoid
stuck.
coins like that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right. See, I wanted to look at. Okay, Frank added to the chat the speakers on the Bitcoin gathering we were talking about earlier. So you might want to check that out if you're interested. And I'm going to head over. Any questions about Altcoin Alert before I head over to iCoinPro? Okay. iCoinPro, the home of the 1, 2, 3 dip. It's where I first how to learn day trading. Was this program. I think it overlaps nicely with Altcoin Alert. And there's two tools I like to use to find trades, and this is one of them, the RSI SPY. I'm usually going to sort by the 1 hour RSI, RSI similar to the RTI. And then if I sort by this and there's values 30 and below, that's something I want to look at. But I don't like Bitcoin pairs, so I'm going to look for USDT pairs. And the only thing that's close due to our pumping today is Tron. This USDT pair is at 33.58. I'm not going to trade that. That coin doesn't move that well usually. So I'm not really seeing anything on this sort that I like. I can sort it the opposite way. And this will show me coins that have pumped today. And these are going to be sort of like what we looked at earlier that have pumped. They're probably going to be above the 80, and then I want them to dip down below at least below the 50 and then come back up. So let's look at some of those potentials. I've got an alert on Jasmy. I've been trading that one today and quite a bit in the last week or two. And what's the other one I've got an alert on? The Graph GRT. I like that one. When I say I like something, it's usually got good volume and it moves. So it's a day trader. I want something to move, 3 or 4% each direction, ideally. So let's look at Jasmy. We looked at this one last week. I can't remember. Yeah, this looks like everything else we've been seeing. It's in the red zone on the 15-minute chart, above the 80 on the RTI. So I've got an alert set for both directions. So if this dips below the 80, it's a potential short for me. If it breaks below the 50, that alert will go off. If it breaks below the 50 and comes back, that alert will go off. If it breaks below the 20 and comes back, that alert will also go off. So those are all my potential scenarios on using the RTI for Jasmy that I'm trading. If you're just trading spot and you're fairly new to this kind of trading, that's fine. You're gonna want to go with the alert that we looked at on the first coin we evaluated. Anyway, that's where you find the indicators up here. And then on our alerts, yeah, you're gonna cross up on the 20 or the 50, but I've gone through a couple of those already, so don't want to be too repetitive. So that's Jasmy on the 15-minute. On a swing. Yeah, it looks very similar. I'd want to wait for a dip. I don't like these entries for these swing trades. If I look at the 4-hour chart though, there's quite a bit of room to move. Going back to June for our retrace information. Yeah, it was at 4 cents in early June, so about a month ago. And that kind of move would be over 30% on a swing trade. So it might take a month. Okay, I'm running a little late, so I went through that pretty quickly. Any questions on Jasmy?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
Put your RTI back up. Okay, you said that you didn't want to have an entrance there because it's up in the red zone up there at the top, but on the
Right.
RTI, those don't usually just drop off like that. So it seems like you'd still have some room to move right there at the end of that. No?
Yeah, you can trade it that way. Frank, who's on this call, I think does that with some frequency. I don't know if he does it on this shorter time frame. Frank, you out there?
Yes.
Yeah, Kim's talking about getting into a trade at this point. What do you think about that?
You're above the 50% line on the RTI. I use some moving averages. So how far are you from the 20 and the 200 matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get a candlestick sell signal and you're far away from the 20, I'm expecting some type of pullback or at least consolidation. But if you're above the 50, you can do it. Just put a stop loss or pay attention, and you can trade the breakout. This is breakout trading, basically.
Right. And it's not, Frank and I are different types of traders. I'm definitely not going to criticize what he's doing because he's very successful. So, but yeah, if you want to take this trade now and because it's trending up, that's fine. Frank was talking about some EMAs. I don't have EMAs on this set layout. I've got them, on some of these longer term layouts. So these are EMAs here, 2250. So you could add those to your chart if you want to be more of a trend type trader. I like dips and retraces, so that's what I focus on. But trading the trend, can be profitable as well. So
If you notice the price action starting way back at that big green, where it jumps up on the RTI, that first move, right? It's
over
a
here
move up, yeah, and then
or
it
over here?
flags out, consolidates. Then there's a pretty big move up. Go, start working your way to the right.
Yeah,
So that it pumps, then it flags out for a while, right? All the way over to the next green hump on the RTI.
yeah, it's right about
And
here-ish.
it pumps again for a little while and it flags out.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you pumped again. Now you notice it's running out of steam because those green bumps are getting smaller, even though the price is getting higher. That's divergence,
Yeah,
right?
looks
But
like
so
Okay.
the question is it gonna flag out again and then run again? Or is it gonna start retracing back down because it's gone too far too fast? It's too far away from the moving averages. That's how I trade it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I've done real well with finding the support and resistance lines and all that kind of stuff. I'm having a real struggle with getting in and getting out. It's just too long, too short. I mean, it's just
I'll
get
be
stuck.
honest. I'll use a 1 minute to decide whether to get in or out.
Okay.
I know it doesn't, wait, but then I look at the longer time frames as to whether to. I still look at the 1 minute entry and exit point, but I'm looking for a bigger run, a longer trend move. So you need to look at some bigger time frames. I look at the day. I look at the 1 day charts.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway,
do that too in the morning usually. Well, I got to move on from this, but
Okay, that's fine.
I
Yeah.
appreciate your help, Frank, and your question, Kim. So, he did provide a sort of a different approach, and nothing wrong with that. I think I can squeeze in one more quick look at, let's see, that was the RSI SPY. The Buddy Coin Crawler is the other one I like. It wasn't looking that good earlier today. Yeah, I'm usually looking for values 4% or higher on the average low to SMA, and don't have any over 4%, which kind of surprised me, given all the movement we've had today. Render, I kind of like, but there was some news on that today regarding Bybit. I think they're discontinuing the spot coin. I don't know why. Yeah, we could let's look at it anyway. Render.
render's just coming up with a new render.
New and improved render.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new coin. They're swapping it over. That's why one's being delisted.
Oh, so we shouldn't look
Crip
at that.
Nation were talking about that.
I remember that now. All right. Let's look at Teller then. I like that one. TRB. Yeah, I think it's on Coinbase. Yep. Yeah, this is looking pretty much the same. Got a big spike down here on the cumulative, even though it's still trending up here. That's interesting. Big move down here on the RTI. Some divergence there. Again, divergence is when the indicator is pointing one direction, the price action is going another way. So it can be predictive. But yeah, the alerts are going to be the same. Wait for a break above the 50 or the 20 on the RTI. Or get in now, go in small and try to ride this pump. Looks like it's it lost some momentum, then regained it. Kind of hard to tell what's going on with this. And then on a swing, start with a 1 hour. The red zone's kind of chubby here. To the top of the red zone, we've got, right around 9-10%. Up here around $86, $87 from 78. That could be a pretty good entry. We're very late on this one though the super trend got us in too early, and then there was a dip and a pump. Yeah, this one's a little tricky. I'd say go in small or use a stop loss if you're going to buy this one here. You do have quite a bit of room to move back. And then on the 4 hour, it was well over 100 not that long ago. In this vicinity, just below the red zone. Yeah, 36% in 17 days. That's a great swing trade. So I like this better once I looked at the 4 hour chart. So, well, that's all I have. Any questions or comments about Altcoin Alert, iCoinPro, or day trading, swing trading in general? All right, I will wrap it up here. Thank you to all the participants. If you're watching on the recording, I'd rather see you live. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help fund the channel, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye.